This is my stack of sadness. Hi everyone, my name is Holly, and in today's video I am going to be doing popular books that I hate. Disclaimer, obviously everything is a personal preference, so I will be talking about these books very negatively, but that does not mean that these books won't work for you. I hate it when people hear negative reviews about a book and they're automatically like, nope, not reading that. You never know, so if it sounds cool, then read it. Also, hate is a very strong word for some of these. Some of these aren't hates, they're just kind of like, they didn't tickle my fancy. They didn't make my loins quake.
Whoa.
Don't hate on me for my opinions, but it's about to get real. Let me just unzip my chest here and pull out my Hufflepuff heart. Set that aside very gently. So the very first book I'll be talking about is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. After all of the award and critical acclaim that this book received, I was made to think that a marvelously written fairy tale-esque story was awaiting me. I was expecting great world building and beautiful descriptive writing and a captivating atmosphere. No. What in the world did everyone else read? Uprooted tells a tale of a young girl named Agnieszka, who lives in her beloved village of Hell. She was born in what is called a tribute year, so every 10 years a choosing takes place and she gets chosen to be like the most special, most beautiful girl who gets to spend the next 10 years with a wizard called Dragon. Do not take that word dragon to heart or you will be sorely disappointed, because he is no dragon, he is an ass. In return, the wizard protects the village from the evil wood. You know, I don't always expect every wizard to be like Gandalf or Dumbledore, but I always expect some type of powerful wisdom to be there. The dragon is the most butthole of a character. He is so mean and so cruel to Agnieszka. The magic system is also another source of my frustration. There is no limitation. There is no explanation for it. The main character, who has zero experience and doesn't even know what the heck is going on half the time, is like Superman of this world. I mean, if you want to read a book about our main character sleeping with another character who insults her constantly and then insults her yet again after doing the deed, then I mean, go ahead. Instead of Beauty and the Beast, it was like Frumpy and the Grumpy Magician. How is my Hufflepuff heart doing over there? Okay, good. I'm gonna need that later for sure. This next one is going to be a rough one, and that is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. Oh, I just crushed everybody's childhood. Listen, I get it. This book literally changed humanity. It's literally birthed so many amazing movies and other books, which in turn is far better than this book in my opinion. I stand by, just because something is considered a classic does not make it good. But oh, if there was ever a book that gave me a headache, it was this one. I mean, the king shouting executions for the first 13 times was fun, but then like the 76 times after that was not. Nothing made sense to me. It was as deep and meaningful as I thought it was going to be. I wish this was one of those books that I fell in love with, because trust me, I was ready to buy all of the merch, but the random disorderliness hurt me to the degree that I just wanted an explanation for something that happened. Also, can we talk about how rude every single character is in this book? This was the very first time I ever threw a book across the room. I just don't like Alice as a character. I found her to be so mean, and I'm so happy that the other renditions of her in other books and movies, she's a much more likable character. The idea of this book is absolutely fantastic, but I just didn't like the execution of it. Goodness, if you are still here, I applaud you, because the salt is up to my neck. The next book I hated was Gideon the Knife by Tamsin Muir. I know this book literally just came out, so how is it considered popular? But let's be honest, this book blew up the moment the title was announced, because Tor is the overhyped king. I read this arc, I believe, in May, and I hated it. I was so disappointed by it. In fact, you can probably still find my tear stains somewhere in here. Hufflepuffs, stay far away. this will taint your kindred souls. There's really only one way to gather my thoughts about this book, and that is in list form. Number one, the writing is mediocre. There is so much unnecessary dialogue to where it leads Gideon to be an absolute ass. There is a major difference between having a sassy character and having a character that you want to punch in the freaking face for being an ignorant dickhead. Gideon is just one big stereotype with no brain and no ability to keep her mouth shut. Number two, plot. It's a clusterfuck. This honestly just seems like a parody to the fantasy and sci-fi genre, but not in a funny way. Number three, I hated the names of the characters. They are the literal definition of smash your face on keyboard names. This is definitely a book where you either absolutely hate it or absolutely love it. This was one of my most anticipated books of the year. I was so grateful, or am grateful, that I got an early copy of it, but I ended up DNFing it about 60 pages in. The next book is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. As you can tell by my tone of voice, I am so sad. This series is so loved, and I went into it ready to be like bombarded by the fandom, but unfortunately it was a huge miss for me. I did not hate this book, not even close, but it was just so underwhelming. The thing is, the plot is pretty unique and cool, but I felt like it took a major backseat, which is funny because I love character-driven books, which is what this book is. But if I don't like the main perspective, then I have a hard time reading it. And I really didn't like Blue. I found her to be very self-centered, and she judged people that she didn't know, and that really bothered me. I just found this book to be super boring. Like, that is it. I would put it down and I would not want to pick it back up. In fact, I think I put it down for like 2 weeks or so, and then I was like, oh yeah, I'm in the middle of this book, I need to finish it. And then while I was reading it, I was like, oh god, there's 3 more of these. Ugh. There is good writing in here, there is an awesome ghostly atmosphere, but it just took forever for the author to get to the reason why the Raven Boys were looking for this Welsh king. So I had no like investment in their mission. I didn't care for the love drama between Blue and Gansey, and this was just a struggle bus for me. And it's a trip that I don't want to put myself through again. Up next, I have another extremely overhyped book, and that is The Ruin of Kings by Jen Lyons. This book came out in February, and it was one of my most anticipated reads, and I believe I read this arc in December. So I was very grateful to read it early, but holy crap, this is so overly convoluted when it didn't need to be. This was overly complex, and you guys know I love complex fantasies, but not to the point where nothing makes sense and you can't connect the 2 perspectives that is going on. But with the insane writing style and body swapping where characters aren't actually the characters you think they are, and the 10-page glossary in the back, and the footnotes, and the story, I don't even know what the heck the story is. Something about a kid named Kieran, and he's telling a story to a demon who is also telling the same story. And I read this whole book too. I might have like skimmed the last half of it, but I read it. Don't remember anything that happened. If we just had a linear plot line, this book would have been a total different ball game, because there's such a wonderful story buried deep within this, but no one gets to see it, which is why I hate it so much, because of the potential. And the final book that I'll be talking about in this video is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. This is a very similar situation to Uprooted, with just a god-awful romance. Every single plot line in this book is driven by sexual violence, and I just can't get behind that. I will never understand the fascination with Jamie. He's one of the worst male characters I have ever read about. He's violent and controlling, and just knowing that I'm supposed to be smitten with him just grinds my gears. I do have such strong feelings toward this book because I went into it expecting to love it, but it just made me so angry, and I do immensely appreciate the detail and the research that the author did for this book when it came to the historical elements, but other than that, it is a big no for me. Let's just get it off the screen, grab my Hufflepuff heart, put it back in my chest, and now we're okay. And there we have it. Those are some popular books that I personally wouldn't recommend, but I swear if you find any of these interesting, please pick them up and give them a try, because I will never hold any of you back from a potential favorite book. Tell me down below a book that you read recently that you were very disappointed by, because I would love to know. I'm very curious about those things. Go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed, because it helps me out so much. And don't forget to subscribe. I upload videos every single week. Follow me on Instagram at HollyHeartsBooks and on Twitter at HollyNiece. And until we meet again, happy reading.